Десь скрізь сон відчувала, чула якісь такі, наче вибухи. Я думала, що це мені щось сниться.
Принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
– 24 лютого повинна була починатись практика.
Але десь там 4:45, ближче до 5, мені подзвонила моя сестра і каже.
This short documentary asks one of the most basic questions in all of language that so often has the least simplest answer, not in the least from people who have endured war and bloodshed and loss and destruction in the way that these people have. But we don't just simply wallow in that. We see their tireless fight for survival, not just their own survival, but the survival of those around them. There's a lot about helping each other, cooking for each other, saving animals, feeding animals. We have so much of a sense here that it's more than just surviving, but of retaining the humanity that is constantly being challenged each and every day.
I think the main things that I love that were really made very transparent and very much like in your face, as in like as the watcher, it's like you cannot avoid this is what you need to see is the pure PTSD in their eyes about what they've gone through. War does not benefit anyone. And even at the end, kind of when the last person was saying how, as someone who's probably never heard war in my life firsthand, don't know what it's like to all of a sudden wake up one day and my country's at war within the country. Her being like, some people in different countries, they hear planes and all they hear is a plane. Me, when I hear a plane, I think I'm about to hear some air raids, and that feeling never goes away. That feeling of anxiety never goes away. So I thought that was insane, and also very eye-opening because they truly are changed forever. And I think being able to see, because I feel like a lot of things we see are a little too censored here. So, when you're seeing the B-roll footage of the devastation and seeing what they've been through and all the interviews and seeing how they were living, even having the first hand accounts of like, her basically in her bunker type home and just, being like, here's the table, a picture, all these things, and it looking like the saddest thing in the world. That's what they had to do to survive. And a lot of people don't see that. They only see what's portrayed on television, which is definitely the censored, glorified version of it. But seeing something like this from the people who are living it and in it is so, I feel like, very important for people to see.
Poignant and topical and evocative piece, really thoughtfully put together. And I think it's really important. The news coverage, at least around where I am, it's still daily or mostly, at least from what I catch. But it feels, very much about the facts, very much. I mean, it should all be about the facts, but it's rather more just cold numbers. This is a real good human interest look, deeper on the ground, and the effects that were had, the psychological effects, the logistical, physical. It's really a good sort of deep dive into that war and just how treacherous it all really is. It does a great job at getting us there on the ground and in the minds of those who've had to suffer this just despicable conflict.
Very moving and very, very well done. It's difficult because I don't want to say that I enjoyed it because so much of it was hard to watch, and it should be hard to watch, but it was incredibly impactful. The interviews that the filmmakers did, I thought all of them were very emotional. It's hard not to feel empathy for what everybody is going through. Cinematography was great. The little bit of music that they used, I thought it was really well chosen.
A lot of what is heard in the news about the Ukraine-Russian conflict is distorted. We don't know what's real, what's not, and coming from the people who are actually living through it, it means a lot more because their words you can trust, whereas the news media are getting second, third-hand information sometimes. They are going through all their feelings. Some of them sound like they have survivor's guilt. Some of them don't want to leave their home country. They're having a lot of issues a lot of days where just the day of feeling one day of feeling happy makes you feel guilty. This goes over all their emotions, where it makes makes the question very complex when you ask how are you, because it's something that probably changes moment by moment, which is what this showed. It's something that's very much fluid, because it's not something that they can ever deal with, because even once the war's over, they'll still have to rebuild their country. It's something that's very hard to watch, because you're hearing what they're going through the first few days of the war. You're going through what they're doing it as it's been a couple years now. It's a film that's very, very complex.